today we are going to look at Rick Astley, Never Going to Give You Up, but we are going to treat it like it is unseen poetry in a GCSE.
Yeah.
So that what we're going to do basically...
Well, at least let's make it A-level.
Could you pass an A-level?
Probably, if I wrote enough. They might extract some points from it.
I've seen GCSE papers and I look at it and go...
Yeah.
Rick Astley probably didn't write this.
Did he not?
No, I don't think so.
No, who was it?
Stock Aitken and Waterman.
Yeah.
At all.
I would be disappointed if he didn't actually write this, though.
Well, Google. There you go.
I would be disappointed.
Google now and it will tell you. And while you're Googling, I will explain that we're going to use the twist-up mnemonic to help us analyse this. So it actually will be fairly useful to... So it will be fairly useful to people who are looking to do unseen poetry in their exams.
Written and produced by, Waterman. Stock Aitken and Waterman. There you go.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the screen twist up.
Yeah.
So that the people who are actually interested in how we're going to do this will be able to see that we're going to be looking at it as title, words, imagery, structure, themes, and then the last two are a real stretch. The you is like your personal response, which we want to talk about the audience or the audience's response when we're talking about poetry, not.
Can I just say, though, I know you're going to run into this, but when I did my...
No, you can't, because I haven't done the last one yet.
Oh, and you're still doing it?
Yeah, the P is any other poetic devices, which again is a little bit of a stretch.
I've only got twist.
It's twist up.
It's twist up, I see that now.
So, for example, you might not talk about, you probably would talk about something like enjambment under structure, but if you didn't, then you would talk about it in other poetic devices.
Yeah, I was just going to say, actually, this twist up is a good idea, because when I did my English exams, one of them was on poetry. I didn't have...
Performed sober in front of a live audience. You didn't have a mnemonic to help you remember a structured way of doing it.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Well, having a mnemonic to help you remember a structured way
Does
of
it help
doing
you with life and talking?
is really helpful.
I didn't have a mnemonic to help me with this. Oh, dear me.
Shall we begin?
Yeah, I think we ought to.
So the first thing that we're going to look at is the title. What is the title?
Presumably it's Never Going to Give You Up.
And what does that tell you about the poem that we're about to analyse?
It tells you it's romantic.
Does it? Never Going to Give You Up could be about heroin.
Well, it could. It could be. Could have an undercurrent of addiction, couldn't it?
You've assumed it was about love, but you've assumed because this is not technically unseen poetry to you, is it? Because you've heard the song. If you didn't and you only saw the title,
well, very true.
You might talk about this could be about. You could go to like Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love. Like you can have addiction as a good thing.
Actually, that's a good point.
So you could be, Never Going to Give You Up could mean quite a lot.
It really could. So my bias already, and knowing the song, means that I've already interpreted the title. Yeah.
And even if you were to say this is definitely going to be about love, then you would say, well, is it? Because is it a love song or a love poem, or is it an affirmation of love, or even perhaps ironically looking at love?
Yeah.
You need to explore the title and what it could possibly mean, because in terms of what follows in the poem might well subvert what you expect from the title.
Yeah. So that was T, obviously, wasn't it, of the twist up? Yeah, so words.
If you look through the words, is there a word or a string of words or a phrase that particularly strikes you or stands out from the others? I quite like this first line, and it does have... we're no strangers to love doesn't mean that we're not strangers to each other.
Yeah.
It means that they've loved before. It doesn't mean that they love now. You can interpret that single line in a number of ways. And when we're talking about an affirmation of love, like Never Going to Give You Up, that opening line is ambiguous. It continues the theme of being, what is this about?
Yeah. It also tells me a little bit about them, though. Obviously, they're of at least a certain age by now to experience or have experienced this kind of thing, as you say, possibly with other people.
Yeah. but the word strangers does imply that straight away, if you say that they were talking specifically about each other and not sort of the widest themes of love, then straight away it does have connotations of problems in a relationship. And I think that then when we come into the rules, then we have this in the second verse when you're talking about we both know that this is a game that we play.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first introduction of this idea there with the rules. So when we talk about imagery, I mean, there's obviously sort of the love is a game metaphor at play here.
Do you think that this was written with the rhyming sort of structure in mind, which is really governed by a commercial idea of kind of pop music, isn't it, and understanding, or at least it be easily understood?
I do think that when this was written, one of the things that was very much in their mind was how commercial it would be, and therefore to make it as accessible as possible. So I don't think that there's very much in here that once you get above like 5 or 6 years old would be a challenge to you, or a barrier to understanding, to
grasp.
Of it.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that it's just basically to be as simple and direct and as accessible as possible. And I think that you notice that straight away as well with just how short the verses are.
Yeah, they're very short, aren't they?
Yeah.
And actually the chorus takes up the bulk of the song. But again, that's geared to commercialism, isn't it?
Yeah, of course,
it's catchy, people remember it, you know.
I think we have pretty much talked about the words and the imagery at the same time, but the imagery would cover things like similes and metaphors. We talked about the metaphor of love being a game.
Structure. We found an A-B, C-D rhyme, didn't we?
Are you saying that love and of rhyme?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, it's not a direct rhyme.
How does he say? Because he's from further north, isn't he? So his accent would be different.
Love of. It's a similar sound, isn't it? It's a near rhyme, I would say.
It's a pretty mediocre one, because I don't think that the vowel sound rhymes, and I don't think that the consonant sound does either.
Love of. It'd have to be more like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Again, it comes a little bit comes down to accent, so it might be that when he says it, it does rhyme a little better. Plus, you can kind of cheat it a little bit just through the phonetics of it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I think it's not a great one.
No. But are you going to find a brilliant example of rhyming in a song like this?
Well, no. Yes, because we've got I and Guy in the same verse, which is
it's a direct rhyme, I suppose.
As clear as you want.
But that A B C D is found in the 3 verses, isn't it?
But you do have that other rhyme. I just want to tell you how I feel and got to make you
you're
understand.
going internal there, aren't you?
So there is a rhyme on the last 2 lines of it as well. It's just not at the end.
What did you have?
Well, it's a perfect rhyme. It's you and you. I want to tell you how I feel and got to make you understand.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
That if we just think about the word there as well, that vowel, make.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
This is further evidence, I think, that this is not a brilliant relationship. I'm going to make you understand.
Yeah.
Or I want you to understand. I would like you to understand.
Yeah. I would like to offer you the opportunity to contemplate
so again, you could take
my proposition to you.
You could take that as fairly negative, I think.
Yeah, got to make you understand. There's obviously an implied imperative there, isn't there?
Have you looked at the rhyming scheme of the chorus?
Yes, yeah. And I think it is pretty much consistent all the way through, obviously. So you've got A, B, C, D, D, C.
Okay.
And that is all the way through. So you've got up. Yeah, sorry. A, B, C, D. That's right. So yeah, you've got up, down, and then you've got you, cry, bye, and you again. It's really, you've only got, 2 in there?
So you've got that internal one as well, though.
Oh yes, I've missed the internal, yeah.
Down and round, it would be assonance, or would it be a rhyme?
Down and round.
And you've got cry, bye and lie, so it does repeat.
Yeah.
But it doesn't with the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at the second verse then.
Okay.
Bear in mind as well, if you're doing this in a poetry exam, we call them stanzas.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Verses.
Yeah, stanzas. That's right. Yeah, and couplets and things like that. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that would be never going to make you cry, never going to say goodbye would be a rhyming couplet.
Yes, yeah, good point. It's the same, yeah, so you've got the same rhyming structure as the first one, A, B, C, D.
Yeah, see, this is a stronger one, isn't it? Although I don't like when I'm writing pop songs, because I've written so many. Rhyming it with it. I know we've talked about it with the first verse a little bit, or rather... I want to tell you and make you understand.
Yeah.
So it's something that occurs a fair bit in this. It's a perfect rhyme.
Yeah.
But it really is repetition, isn't it? If we're wanting to use a word that's perhaps not quite so flattering as perfect rhyme, it's just repetition.
Yeah.
But this long on is a stronger one than love and of, I think.
I mean, I quite like the fact that love and of is not quite there, but it's still there.
In terms of love and of, and that near rhyme, half rhyme, whatever you want to call it, does that say anything that we could talk about under themes, or even you for the personal response to it? Because that, when we use those rhymes, what would we typically use a rhyme like that for? It would be to suggest that something is not quite right, or something's a little bit off.
It may, so it would be, you would intend it, wouldn't you, to perhaps highlight the fact that there may be more nuance to this relationship between those two sentences or two words.
What's quite striking about the second verse is there is quite a lot of assonance has crept into this, and the we've each, we being, game and play, and then the last two lines, which are not quite a rhyming couplet, because we've got feeling rhyming with C, but again you've got that assonance there,
you've got
and you've got the internal me on both of those lines as well.
That's true,
and
me,
you have
C,
you're too shy to say. Shy and say is para rhyme. So there's quite a lot of different types of rhyme going on in that second verse, which you don't find in the first one.
What are they saying here in terms of the writers? Is it just, is it intended to develop the understanding of these two people, for the listener, I mean?
I think it must be, because you've got, if you say ache would be assonance with say. So it is on every line. So I'm beginning to believe that it is on purpose.
Yeah. All the writers just got into the swing of it a bit better by that point.
They go in the flow a little bit. But you could talk about the fact that there's a double beat, if you like, an assonant rhyme on each line, that there's clearly two things happening. You say this is perhaps the couple being more in sync now than they were in that first one, when we're talking about them like they're strangers, and we've got this half rhyme of love and of. Now we've got this assonance coming in. It's giving us a much more sort of doubled, repetitive meter almost. So I think that I think there is something going on. It's more complicated than I would have given it credit for.
Absolutely, and I think you've touched on something really, really good, because it's, if you're writing about a poem and you can say, it has this rhyming structure, but it's important to say, why is it rhyming? And that's where you'll get your marks, actually, isn't it?
It would definitely push you up into a higher grade bracket.
Yeah,
we talk about the effect on the audience. But we should talk about verse 3. Which is a slight oddity in that it's a repeat of verse 2, apart from the last two lines, which are a return to the last two lines of verse 1.
Verse 1, yeah. See, again, it's the same rhyming structure. I've got A, B, C, D. But as you say, it's a conflation of the first two verses, so that's building on top of what we were just discussing about the development in verse 2 of their coming together, or at least their early, discussions and whatnot about love.
If you're talking about, which I know we did, and we're talking about sort of the half rhyme and the slightly different rhyming in verse 1, verse 2 shows that verse 2 is a place where their relationship is stronger. That return to verse 1 at the end of verse 3, I just want to tell you how I'm feeling, got to make you understand, actually loses the rhyme of verse 2. It takes it out in favour of a couplet that doesn't rhyme. So that would almost suggest that despite all the protestation of things he's never going to do, he's actually reverting back to their previous position.
Yeah, they haven't
the more difficult position.
Yeah, they're not quite synchronised yet.
Which I think brings us rather nicely as well onto the themes of this. And as we discussed when we talked about the title, this is an affirmation of love, or it certainly reads like one. But does it? Because we talked about the structure and the rhyme and what they're starting to show perhaps there's something more going on. And even then, this whole idea that the whole thing is a game, does that really speak well of a relationship?
Well, no, because the intention really to be committed to somebody is that it's not a game.
Yeah.
Is that you?
But they both know it's a game and they both know they're playing.
Yeah. It could tell me that the people of the song, are quite obviously young, naive, almost sort of glib ideas about love and that sort of thing,
I think the glib part's something that's quite key to the first verse. Because a full commitment is what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Well, that sounds great, doesn't it? But you wouldn't get this from anyone else. Yeah. Sounds abusive. It's like, I love you.
It's from any other guy,
but nobody else will.
He's got a bit of an ego, this chap, hasn't he?
Yeah. That's really... if you read that like that, that's appalling.
Yeah, it is really, isn't
somebody.
It? Yeah.
I love you, but nobody else ever will.
You wouldn't get this from any other guy, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, is it that this lady, girl, woman wouldn't find somebody else, or is it that his love is superior to anybody else? Either way, it's not good.
I think that what he's saying is that I'm going to give you a full commitment that's so great that nobody else could ever match it. Yeah. But you can also read it literally. The literal reading of it is appalling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also want to talk about... I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Got to make you understand. Again, we discussed that. I don't like that very much either.
Well, no, yeah.
But then... Okay, I'm going to make you understand because, there's a communication issue here. I'm going to make you understand how I'm feeling. But does he then ever talk about his feelings?
No, he does. No, he just goes on and tells her what he's not going to do.
Yeah, and in fact, he talks about her feelings more than his. I'm not going to make you cry. Yeah. I'm not going to tell a lie and hurt you. Yeah. These are not his feelings at all. No. So if the communication issue that he's got to make you understand... Yeah. I think that tells you that he's not going to succeed. That his communication issue remains a serious communication issue.
Which is evidenced, as you said earlier, in the last verse, isn't it?
Yeah.
We lose that fairly tighter rhyme of the second verse in the last lines. It brings it back to, as you said earlier, to the first verse, where we do have communication breakdown.
It's starting to be...
Yes.
Something that you could definitely interpret as something other than a love song.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
If you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. Let's just think about that in the terms of you wouldn't get this from any other guy. That's appalling as well. Because it's like, if you're asking me how I'm feeling and my reaction is going to be, what, you're so blind you can't see? Not only am I defensive, but I'm blaming you.
For your shortcomings, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to hell with you, yeah. That's right, yeah.
I think that either this is a song that's suddenly got a new meaning for me, or this has just always been appalling and I've never noticed.
Well, we've always been sort of, it's been the Rickroll, hasn't it? That's been the smokescreen to actually quite an unsavoury psychological character.
Yeah. Do you know what as well, actually? Now I think about it more, that Rick Astley's perfect for this.
He is, isn't he?
Because he has that man's voice, but he's got, in the video, I mean, he's got to be 40-something now.
Oh, that's true, it's probably 50, yeah.
But... in the video, he looks like a boy, but he sings like a man. And you're talking about how he might be just like really naive.
That's right,
glib. And it's like, you have this contradiction of this sort of false maturity.
Yeah, yeah.
That you get from him. I think it's just, he's got the perfect person to sing as.
Yeah. Just going back to the video, though, he is, as you say, his voice is much older than he was at that time. And it's quite an odd experience, isn't it? Watching him singing. And he looks about I don't know, 12, I suppose.
Yeah.
But as you say, he's singing about initially what you might just think of as a fairly la-di-da love song, and, I love you, you love me, and all that kind of thing. But actually, underneath the surface, we do have a bit of a problem here with Rick, don't we?
We do. And if we wanted to read perhaps more into it than was intended,
yeah.
let's just have a look
Go on,
at the middle section, which is more or less instrumental, but it just has the repetition of the female voice saying, give you up.
Oh, God.
And he says, never going to give, never going to give. But he doesn't actually say...
Never going to give. Yeah. He doesn't know, does he? What's going on? But actually, her position in this is, I'm going to give you up.
Yeah. Which comes back to, we both know what's been going on. We know the game we're going to play.
Yeah.
Your heart, not his, because he says, I'll talk about my feelings, but then he talks about hers. Her heart has been aching.
Yeah. We are just seeing, really, the patriarchy rolled out fully in this song, aren't we? Let's be honest.
Patriarchy Rick.
At that time, yeah.
So the effect on... Have we, do you think, explored themes enough that we should move on to the you part of it?
I was rather enjoying myself there with all that.
I think it's appalling.
Yeah.
Or potentially appalling.
Yeah. Well, no, have conviction. I think you're right. I've got your back on this one.
Have I convinced you that this is awful?
That this is... Yeah, but it's awful in a way that you've never really thought about before.
No. It's suddenly much, much deeper.
It is,
than I ever gave Stock Aitken and Morton credit for.
What are we on now, then? Are we on up?
No, we are on
you.
We are on our personal response to it now. I think we've talked about that under themes a fair bit.
Yeah.
The response that the audience expects. I think that on a superficial level, the same level that I've approached this at
Me too,
since 1987 was that this was very much an affirmation of love of all these things that I'm going to do.
Quite a fairly cutesy kind of, It's the first kind of thing when you're young enough that you probably want to say to your first girlfriend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, you're not going to quote Shakespeare, are you, Old Bill? You're going to quote Rick Astley, aren't you?
Well...
As much as you stayed up the night before remembering Sonnet 120, whatever it was.
Yeah. I probably would have
Summer's
remembered...
Day, and then out comes Rick Astley, We're No Strangers to Love.
I would have remembered a dirty limerick, probably.
I've got a limerick.
Oh, you've got a limerick?
We'll have to do that, yeah.
Do it now.
Do you want to do it now?
Yeah, do it now.
Rick Astley, our Lord, our Saviour, was known for frivolous behaviour. He Rick-rolled from the tomb into culture's womb, becoming love's finest creator.
Love's finest creator?
Do I just need an applause for that, or?
How do you mean love's creator?
Well, I wrote this before we were picking apart what love and what this was really all about. Basically,
right.
what I'm saying here is, apart from that, he's like Jesus Christ. We can come on to that in a minute. Is that...
No, I think we should come on to that now. Because I'm willing to bet that if you did a search for Rick Astley on YouTube, you won't find any videos claiming that he's Jesus Christ.
I think what I'm thinking is with this, that he is the current representation of the Lord our Saviour, right? And I'm not a Christian.
Obviously.
So he Rick-rolled from the tomb. I mean, what a fantastic image is that, just for a start. Imagine him Rick-rolling out of the tomb.
If this single came out on Easter Sunday, that would be amazing.
It would. Yeah.
That would give you credibility.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think we should. Should we do it? No, we'd never sing it as good, would we?
No. Right, you need to tell me how you have tied Rick Astley...
Rick Astley in with Jesus Christ. Okay, so looking at the lyrics of the song, never going to give you up, never going to let you down. That is the same as Jesus Christ saying to his followers, give up everything and follow me.
Are you paraphrasing?
Somewhat, yeah.
Did Jesus actually say that?
It's been a while since I looked at my Bible, but...
Right.
Yeah, no, his command, as it were, would have been to, follow me, relinquish your sins, I will take them, believe in God. Okay. So he's acting like a modern day Jesus Christ. Never going to hurt you, never going to lie to you, never going to give you up. So if you follow him, as in Rick Astley and Jesus, you will be rewarded in the same way that this woman is rewarded. which we have now clearly identified her as not being rewarded. But this just shows you that this song is multifarious in terms of interpretation. It's protean. It means different things. It will mean different things to you on different days. It's complex. We've bitten off more than we can chew.
So you're not going with the idea that Stock Aitken and Waterman were channeling their faith when they wrote this song. You're going with the actual idea that Rick Astley is Jesus, and that this is a modern day hymn.
It could be a hymn, actually.
Or a psalm.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, prayer, hymn. Yeah, I think so. I think we've really just discovered the Holy Grail, actually, of... I was watching the Da Vinci Code not all that long ago, and I think Dan Brown got it wrong when he said the bloodline was the Holy Grail. I think...
He's just got the wrong person.
Well, true, but...
Where was Rick Astley when they were filming? Perhaps unavailable, on tour.
He was on tour, yeah. Yeah.
I think you're onto something here, because when he says, never going to run around and desert you, well, Jesus was in the desert for 40 days, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it obviously ties in when you think about it like that.
Very much.
The connection is right there in front of your face.
But I've convinced you, and hopefully the viewers, that Rick Astley is Jesus Christ.
If you don't mind me saying
and this song is the Holy Grail.
If you don't mind me saying so, you have not convinced me of that in any way, shape or form.
Sure.
Yes, I think that is a very tenuous link.
It should be, yeah.
So the last thing on the twist up is your personal reaction, which we
just had that.
And the last thing after that is any other poetic techniques. So,
right.
In terms of that sort of thing, anything you hadn't discussed before that you wanted to discuss now would be the time.
Yeah.
For example, we didn't mention a full commitment, so what I'm thinking of, you wouldn't get this from any other guys, probably enjambment is when one line carries over from another.
Yes.
You'll get help, because if you've got Rick Astley as one of your poems, then it will compare with another one.
Hopefully a poem.
Like they'll give you Kylie or something like that.
Is it worth talking about the Rick rolling phenomenon, or not necessarily, because it doesn't really relate, I suppose?
What do you want to talk about?
Well, only that it has become a massive thing, hasn't it?
It is good that if you Rick roll somebody that you get amusement from it.
Yeah.
But quite often the person being Rick rolled does as well.
Yeah.
It is a really light-hearted and enjoyable sort of internet. I don't know, I guess it's not really a meme, but that sort of thing. Whereas so much on the internet is mean-spirited.
Yeah, that's true.
Or negative. That actually Rick Astley is bringing a little bit of happiness and joy to a corner of the internet right now.
Yeah.
Somebody's being rickrolled somewhere in the world and going, oh God.
Yeah. So twist, so that's title words, imagery, structure, themes, and then up.
Yeah, personal response and any other poetic devices.
Yeah. That's quite a handy thing, actually, to look at something through that lens, really.
And even though the you one, the up, your personal response one, really is like a stretch for the mnemonic. Tomorrow, it'll be the only one you remember. Yeah. So it's probably just time to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Right. So what's the next video about?
WAP.
Pussy.
WAP. Yeah.
No?
We never did make it as pop singers, did we?
Speak for yourself. I've had a hit single.
Have you?
Yeah.
What was it?
It's called Shelter, and it was in some sort of indie chart.
It was in a past life.
No, it was in some sort of indie chart.
Yeah.
And because I only wrote the words.
Oh, I remember you saying
and
this
somebody
now.
else wrote the music.
Yeah.
And because it was in indie charts and not the charts, I actually didn't make any money from it. But I have had.
You've had the experience.
Yeah.
Which is what it's all about, isn't it?
No, the money's what it's all about. Give me the money and shove the experience.
I think Rick Astley wanted a song that was going to give him and his audience a great experience.
I don't agree with you.
Some kind of new phenomenon.
I don't agree with you. I think Stock Aitken and Waterman were looking at this going, well, what's the exact formula that we use for Kylie, Jason, Bananarama, for Sonia, for Funboy 3 and all the other bands that they did. And it's like, we'll use that exact same formula for Rick Astley because it works, and it did work.
It did work. But are you telling me there's a formula here?
Yeah.
That this isn't an original piece of work?
I can't remember what they said. I think that their process was take a classical song, put a dance beat to it, speed it up to 140 beats per minute, and then write a really basic melody over the top of it.
Bake at 180, yeah. And out comes Rick.
Yeah. The thing with Rick is that Rick was in a band.
Was he really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
But Stock Aitken and Waterman didn't want the band because they wanted the formula and the singer.
They went on to be The Who. No. That was a bit before that.
The band went on to be Bros.
Right.